Marquee tool is used to define areas for selection, editing and visualization purposes. The capabilities of the Marquee tool complement those of the arrow tool and are particularly useful in selecting and moving groups of ArchiCAD elements. Now I'm just going to illustrate that quickly. I've got this little building over here and we can see the dimensions. Sometimes you might create a dimension that's not rounded off. Rather than changing the dimension, you might just drag the marquee over the end of the building, and in this particular instance I've got all floors selected. I can just choose this floor because I've only drawn on this level. So if you wanted to move your building and stretch elements in your building on all floors, you would use the double marching ants, and if it's just a single floor, you'd use a single row of marching ants. Then we need to make sure that the grouping is off or suspended. So I just push Control H, left mouse click once, move that way until a guide comes up, and I'm just going to type 5mm, and we can see that now that's a nice round figure. Conversely, if I wanted to stretch it by 2 meters, when doing this, we have to be careful that if we stretch the roof, make sure you're behind the ridge, because if you're not, the results can change. Control H can change the angle of the hips like that. So I'm just going to go Control Z to undo that. And just to have a look at what we've done, I'm going to draw a marquee around this area and push F5, which shows us in 3D just what's in the marquee. Remove marquee. So what we've done here is use the marquee to edit all of the building elements, stretch them all, the slab, the walls and the roof all at the same time, and we can do that over one floor or all floors. And I've also shrunk it as well using the same method, and I can use either the Control or Apple H or the Edit, Reshape, Stretch command, which isn't highlighted at the moment because I don't have anything selected. Then we use the Marquee tool to select only what was inside the marquee in the 3D window, and we did that by pressing the F5 button. So we're going to get to that again in a second. So first of all, I'm going back to my other building. Next, I'm just going to use the Marquee tool to define a smaller area of a larger project. This is particularly useful on multi-story projects, where if I just grab a section of the building and push F5, we only see the items that are on that level that are defined by the marquee. If I change that to the double marching ant, which is also called the all floors selection method, and I press F5 once again, then we get all stories. So if you're doing a large project, you don't have time to regenerate the whole building all the time, you just want to have a look at a little bit, or you want to focus or concentrate on a certain section of the building, the Marquee tool is the best way to do that. We can also define marquees by other geometry methods, such as polygons, the rectangle, which I've already used, and the rotated rectangle. If I was to use this, the polygon method's particularly interesting, and if I push F5, we can see the effect that that's had there. It's quite interesting. If I right mouse click, I can push remove marquee. As well as having these marquee options in the 2D window, if I go to a 3D view, I can also select certain areas, and by going Control C I can copy what was in that area there, and I might want to paste that to the floor plan there, which makes for a very powerful visualization tool. Now just one last thing, if I was to change the rendering engine from the OpenGL engine into the internal engine and push OK, if I turn the shadows on, for example, it will generate the shadows. Now this time when I use the Marquee tool, I'm going to use the last 2D selection method there, even though I'm in the 3D window, and I'm just going to drag a marquee over the whole site. Then if I go Control C, I get the copy command options come up, and this is only available for the internal engine, as I've mentioned. So we can copy or save this as a painted screenshot. A painted screenshot will copy the contents of the 3D window as a unified picture or a figure. A figure is basically an image file that's imported and then it's embedded into an ArchiCAD project file, and they can be inserted into any of the 2D windows in the floor plan or section elevation window, detailed drawings or layouts. Figures can be placed and manipulated by using the dedicated figure tool. Also a drawing, and when you choose a drawing, the resulting image will consist of parts described in the dialog box, and the size of the picture obtained will be equal to the size of the image in the 3D window. This is important when pasting the copied parts into another application such as Photoshop. Then the final option is a scaled drawing. The scaled drawing option creates an image that keeps the sizes of the floor plan. So if you paste it into a side view of a project on the floor plan using the scaled drawing option, the size will match the size on the plan. So I'm going to use the scaled drawing option here. Then I can choose construction elements. I can choose none of them, just the edges, polygons, or edges and polygons. Polygons is just basically the fills, and the edges and polygons means the fill with a line going around each of the polygons. Those options also the same for shadows, so I can copy and paste the shadows, none, just the edges, just the polygons, or edges and polygons. I'm going to choose edges and polygons here. Then I can choose overlapping polygons or calculate split polygons. I'm going to leave that how it is, and I can frame them or use frameless polygons. So if I push OK, then I close this window, right mouse click and push paste, and there we have the coloured resulting image from pasting from the Marquee tool.